Hi friends, hi girls, hi theys, hi gays. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Erica Eileen. I'm a confidence coach and I help and specify, specialize in body, business, and bedroom confidence. But as most of us know, confidence is intertwined and interconnected to all parts of our life. So we talk about everything and anything over here on the channel. If you're not new, welcome back. Thanks for being here. I am so excited for this week's episode. I am talking all things how to thrift, how to style yourself, how to find your style, and just body confidence in general. This is a topic that I am often asked about. It's something that I talk with a lot of my clients too, just because style and outward expression is still important, even when you're learning to love yourself on the inside, regardless of what you look like. But thrifting, shopping, styling, it can be such a huge part of your confidence journey. And it's the fun part too. There's always like the nitty gritty of figuring out who you are, allowing yourself to really like get deep in on what you need and your boundaries and all of I call it the hard stuff. Then I always get to the point with my clients where we get to start talking about expression and fashion and how you want to showcase yourself and your identity to the world. So we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about thrifting because not only is it very trendy, but I have been doing it. Okay. And not to say that I started the trend, but I have been thrifting since I was younger. I don't think I ever got any new clothes. My mom always had hand-me-downs from the people around and the neighbors, which is, in my personal opinion, awesome. I loved thrifting growing up. I thought it was so much fun. I can still remember some of my favorite outfits and pieces that I bought with my mom. Now, back then, you could literally get clothes for like 25 cents. You could get a full bag for $2. Not the case anymore. It is a bit more expensive now, especially because it's trendy. People have kind of like gone back to figuring it out. And there's also all those resellers, which get your bag, do what you got to do. But I'm here for the people that just want to thrift. They want to learn how to find pieces for themselves, craft together their wardrobe, and not just go online and order something and really just understand what their style is. It was such a big part of my confidence journey. It's a huge part of it right now. I'm on this like really big celibacy, abstinence. Who do I want to be when I turn 33, which is my favorite number in age. And a big part of that was figuring out my outward expression and what I wanted to look like, not only physically in my body, but also with my looks and with my fashion. And it has been life-changing. So I'm going to give you all my tips and tricks for that. I'm going to give you how to thrift. For those of you that are new, I always get comments when I'm like showing my outfits and people are like, where do you get that? I'm like, the thrift store. And people are always like, oh my God, like I can never find anything when I go. So I'm going to give you my tips and tricks. I do have a hot take about thrifting. You either are good at it or you're not. And this isn't necessarily if you are doing the right things. It just takes a certain type of energy and patience and creativity to thrift. And if you don't have it, that's okay. That's literally fine. You are not a bad person for not being able to thrift, or if you've been having problems with it, don't beat yourself up over it. Hopefully some of these tips will help you, but it is an act and it is an art, and you got to put them together to have the perfect outcome. So we're going to do that. First things first, I want to talk about body confidence, because before we even talk about fashion, before we even talk about outward expression, nothing that you can buy will ever take away from a lack of confidence that you have in your body. So if you don't like your body to begin with all due respect, no matter what you put on it, you're probably not going to like it. You might like things more, you might feel better about it, but at the end of the day, if you don't like your physical self when you look in the mirror, it's going to be a very hard time to be very excited about the items that you're finding or the clothes that you're wearing or the fashion that you're starting to develop. So the first step in actually understanding fashion so you're not over consuming is just realizing when you're shopping for body confidence or when you're shopping because you actually need something or it feels aligned to you. There's been times, and I'm not perfect, there's been so many times where I've gone shopping for a piece and I'm like, I actually don't need this. I'm just feeling insecure in ABC, or I don't feel like I deserve this, so I need to replace it or I need to add something. You don't. Okay. So the first step is to always fall in love with your body and fall in love with yourself. That's an ongoing journey. I do not have a linear journey with my body confidence whatsoever, but I will tell you this. I do like my outfits more when I am giving back to my body, when I'm loving myself, whatever that looks like in that time of my life, versus when I'm not. So body confidence, it's tricky. I will be talking about that in another episode. I kind of like did things backwards, but I just really wanted to film this one. So we're going to do that first. So your first step is just actually recognizing your body confidence, where it's at. My number one tip, which is a very different tip than what I used to suggest, but I suggest clients to go shopping on their period, when they're bloated, when they're tired, when they're exhausted, after they've eaten a lot for that day, because that is a typical state that we're existing in. So people sometimes will go shopping when they feel their skinniest, when they feel their best. They'll go right in the morning, they won't eat breakfast, they'll fast for a couple days. That's irrelevant. And I don't need to be mean, but it's irrelevant because that's not your typical state of being. So if you're going shopping when you have your period, chances are you'll wear those pants when you have your period because it's going to feel comfortable. It's going to be able to fit that version of your body. And if you are someone like myself, my body fluctuates throughout the month. Like one day I'll have 6-pack abs, the next day I'll be so bloated. I can gain 10 pounds overnight, and I can also lose 10 pounds overnight. Like my body fluctuates heavily depending on my cycle, stress, all of those things, the type of day it is. So allowing yourself to shop at different times, different points of your cycle, different points of your existence is going to be really beneficial. So that would be the first and foremost. Okay. When it comes to body confidence and shopping, there is a level of reaching outside of your comfort zone that you should strive for. But in order to reduce overconsumption, in order to reduce buying shit that you're not going to wear, I strongly advise you to just start shopping for things that feel good no matter what and that you feel comfortable in, and then adding in accessories or adding in things to kind of spruce it up as you go along. The worst thing ever is having a full wardrobe and not liking it or not knowing how to wear it because it's not comfortable for you or it doesn't exist with your lifestyle. So one of my biggest problems with shopping is I will always buy things and be like, I'm going to wear this when I'm at the beach frolicking. And I'm like, okay, how often are you at the beach? Which for me, it is often, I guess. But at the same time, like I don't live 24/7 at the beach. I'm not always at a music festival. So having tons of musical festival outfits are relevant. So making sure that you're buying things that you would wear day in and day out. For myself, I realized that that's jeans and a tight little top. So now when I'm shopping or thrifting, I like to find jeans or a cute little top. I don't necessarily go for bikinis or the dresses anymore. But that's a lesson that I learned with my own existence and my own journey with overconsumption. That's not necessarily the topic today, but it is something that you want to be aware of, especially because things are expensive now. Thrifting has gotten expensive. So you don't want to necessarily buy all these things just to say that you're thrifting just because it's secondhand. You want to still be intentional with it. Okay. So body confidence, number one, first thing that you need to pay attention to. Oftentimes I used to tell clients, like, don't go shopping when you feel like shit about yourself or don't feel like amazing. But for some people that's always, and for other times it's like, if you just go when you feel good, then you're never going to wear what you actually need to wear. I wrote down a list, by the way. Okay. The next part of this episode is how to find your style. So there are so many ways to find style. There's so many tests. There's so many examples. Is this thing recording even? Hopefully it is. I can't see it. Yeah, it is. It is. Okay. I just was looking in the mirror. I'm like, damn it. Okay. So when it comes to finding your style, there's a bunch of different ways that you can do it. I will give you my personal things that have helped the most. Number one was getting my color analysis done, which I know it sounds restrictive and it sounds like it's putting rules, especially on like women or femmes or non-binary folks to present themselves in a certain way. The color theory is real. The color theory is real. I almost get like stressed about it sometimes. Before understanding what colors looked best on me and what like tones looked best on me, shopping was fun because I could just buy everything and anything. If it looked good on me, I would kind of buy it in terms of the way that it fit. Last year when I met Pat, which if you are not new here, Pat was a woman that came up to me when I was thrifting and was like, all those are the wrong colors for you. And I was ready to fight. And I was like, excuse me? And she's like, I do color analysis and I've done it for 30 years. And she's like, those colors are not for you. Now, I was going through a breakup the day that I met her and I'm like, girl, I got time. I have got time, lady. You want to freaking tell me what the fuck to wear? Let's hear it. Anyways, she took me around the thrift store for 2 hours and she pulled out every color and shade of each color. So it was like, we'd go into reds and she's like, this red is a blue red. This is an orange red. This is a yellow red. And I was just sitting there like this, you know, and my eyes were like popping out of my head. And I was like, what the fuck? But we went through every single color and she showed me and she was like, look at your features as you put it on. Like, do you brighten? Do you look fresh? Do you look younger or do you look drained? Do you look like the colors come right out of your face? And I'm not joking, you all. I saw it happen in front of my eyes and I hate when people are right, but I was so grateful because not only did it allow me to feel like I understood myself and like I understood what worked best for me. But it also took away decision factors when I came to shopping. I didn't have to start all of a sudden being like, look at these 19 colors of tank tops. I'd be like, these are the two in my color, and these are the ones that would look best on me. So color analysis for your style is definitely supportive. There's a bunch of filters on TikTok. There's a bunch of ways to figure it out on Pinterest. You can hire people. You can do like tests with sheets. People do it in real life. I know my friend Ray Lynn does it. She's in Massachusetts, Boston, Providence area. But you can sometimes find local people that can do it for you as well. But it is super helpful. So that would be the first thing that I would say. The second thing is to come up with a term for the style that you typically look for. So I often, when I start to like figure out what my style is and I start to like kind of pay attention, I look at influencers that I follow. I look at what I'm typically drawn to that comes up on my For You page, and I just start taking little notes. So I'll be like, okay, this person has like really baggy jeans and lots of accessories, and this person kind of looks like they're wearing streetwear and it looks like a little bit vintage or it looks like a mermaid. So I just started taking notes and take note of who you follow, take note of what you're attracted to. Okay. The other thing too is allowing yourself to go on Pinterest, and you can just type in like different aesthetics. One of the easiest ways to do it would be to just go in and say like 2025 style types or style genres. And sometimes there's creators who will put things together. You guys, like pins where it's like coconut girl style. Now, is that a real term? I don't know. But then all of a sudden there's all these like things, right, that go with like coconut girl. So it's like coconuts and flowers and skirts and flip flops. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that's me. Then there's some that are like ballerina girl. And it's like, slicked back buns, those little skirts, little cardigans. So you can sometimes start to find other terms that people have used and utilize that. My best trick was to figure out a couple of words that went together. And I actually used this for my brand with my business. But we essentially took all these things that I love, which are being in the city. I love being with people. I love like exploring. I love big festivities, and I also love the beach. I love the beach. I love the beach. I can't necessarily be a mermaid with the life that I live right now. So what we did was we blended them together and we came up with a term called City Mermaid. Now, again, that was for my brand. However, I've adapted that into my fashion and into my like personality, into my expression. So now when I go shopping, for example, I look for something and I say, is this city or is this mermaid? And is it both? And if so, amazing, I'll buy it. So I try to blend those two styles. So you can also blend different styles. You also don't have to stick to just one. I personally find though, when I allow myself to just be like, this is who I want to be, this is the type of expression that I want to have, this is what I want to look like, this is what I feel best in. And my biggest question that I started asking myself was, does this fit my lifestyle that I have? Not the lifestyle that I necessarily want or dream of, but does this fit the lifestyle that I have? And if the answer is yes, then that's when I start to purchase. So finding a term that works for you. Mine is City Mermaid. I have a friend that I did this with for New Year's. It was so much fun. We did her color analysis. We started like putting things together on Pinterest. And then she came up with a term, country chic, but it was like CUNTRY, not like actual like country. Because she's like, I want to look cunty, but I want to look still put together and a little bit like luxurious. But I also live in the country and I like camo and I like those things. So we added the three together. And since then, she's been able to kind of formulate what looks look like. When she's on Pinterest, she can't obviously put in like country chic, but she knows the elements that she's looking for. So when she sees outfits, she can be like, oh yeah, that's cunty, that's country, that's chic. Let me add that to my Pinterest board. So that is how I started finding my personal style. But again, the easiest way to do it is just to try things on and to see what feels like you. I can put something on now because I've practiced this so many times and I can tell if it's for me or not. Yesterday I was shopping at Giant Tiger and I was going to buy this like really cute crochet shirt. And I was like, oh, I'm going to wear that with like a white tube top underneath and some jeans. But then I was like, it's almost too coquette, which is like more like a girly, but it's more like bows and everything. And it just didn't match 100% the city or the mermaid. So I left it and I saved myself $20 and I was really proud of myself. So it can get really easy the more you practice it. Okay. Now the next part, the part that you're here for, Thrifting 101. How do we thrift? What do we do? Help me. I need all the tips and tricks. You've come to the right place. Like I said, I've been thrifting since I was a child. One of my favorite outfits, I don't know why I remember it, but it was this like really cute plaid skirt. It was almost like a schoolgirl outfit. I remember getting that and it was $2. And then I got a tie and I wore the tie. And I had like one of those old school Hollister, just like plain t-shirts that were like the V-neck, but I wore the tie with it. Y'all, I thought I was eating. I probably was, to be honest. I probably was. But I love that. And I was like in grade 8, having my own style, having my own fashion. I am sad because I kind of let society take control of like what that was. And I always used to get made fun of as well for thrifting. Like everyone was like, oh, that's gross. That's for poor people. And meanwhile, my mom and dad are over here just like saving bank and knowing that it was also good for the environment. My mom is such an environmentalist. She's so like, everything has 9 uses. My dad will hoard everything and like turn everything into anything. So I think that's where it also came from. But yeah, I got like made fun of all the time, but my fashion was so cool. And then in high school, I kind of let like popularity and everything kind of take control, and a lack of confidence will do that. But now I'm like, the majority of my clothes are thrifted or they are from like very specific spots, and that's it. So how to thrift 101. That's a little bit about my journey. So that's why I'm allowed to talk about it. The first thing you need, hold on. My electrolytes. I said that in episode 2. Okay. So first thing that you need is patience. You cannot go thrifting thinking that you're going to Abercrombie, thinking that you're going to Old Navy, and everything is laid out for you and you're going to find exactly what you're looking for. It doesn't work that way. Most thrift stores, depending on which one you go to, Talese in Canada, which I don't know if you guys have that in the States or not, but Talese in Canada has their like tank tops, and it will be like small tank tops, but they'll do red, orange, yellow, green, blue, etc. Then they'll do medium tank tops, red, orange, yellow, green, blue. It's phenomenally organized. However, if you go to like Savers in the States, if you go to Valley Village, they just have medium tank tops, small tank tops, and you have to kind of rift through it. So to think that you're going to go thrifting with 45 minutes, unless you're going for just one specific thing, it's not going to happen. So you have to have patience. You have to also look through everything. My favorite finds from the thrift store are ones where I like opened it and I'm like, oh, you weren't supposed to be here. Like you were not in this section. I have this dress that I wear all the time. I get compliments all the time. And it was in the shirt section. So they actually charged it for a shirt as well, but it was a dress. And again, it wasn't supposed to be there, but because I was shifting through each piece, I ended up finding it. So if you don't have the patience to do that, if you don't have the creativity to be able to look at something in a sea of shit and be like, that is a gem, it's going to be impossible. So the first thing that you need to do is you need to have tons of patience. You need to give yourself lots of time. I will not go thrifting unless I have at minimum an hour and a half. Now, if I just go thrifting for like trinkets or in a small independent thrift store, you can do it faster. But if you're going into those big, massive ones, you need time. You need time to try things on, to look around, to hem and haw, etc. The next thing is water and snacks, okay? No one does well when they're dehydrated or when they're hungry. So I always bring a big water like this with electrolytes. I will bring a coffee. I'll bring like, I call them girl drinks, but like a bubbly or like a energy drink. Bring something to keep you hydrated. It's work, okay? There's times where I'm like, I have 12,000 steps and all I did was went thrifting. So it's going to take work and you're going to be in there for a while. And there's lots of like dust. There's lots of like weird lighting. So just take care of yourself. Bring water, bring snacks, okay? Now, I brought an example of what to wear. So when you go thrifting, you have to prepare for success. Some thrift stores will have change rooms, but since COVID, some of them took them out, which I think is like, don't get me started on that. That's a whole other topic of how wrong thrifting is becoming, because now these non-profit companies are making bank because the prices are insane, and also they're not allowing returns and they're not allowing change rooms. But I digress. So I'll go into every thrift store thinking that I'm not going to find a change room, okay? Now, what you're going to wear to your thrifting is you're going to wear some leggings. You want them tight at the bottom. Am I still in the frame? Yeah, tight at the bottom. You want them fitting, nice and simple. You're going to wear a tank top like this, and I always wear neutral colors. The reason being is you are trying on a blue sweater or a blue shirt, and all of a sudden you have like a hot pink thing sticking out. When you're visually looking at it, you're not going to be able to see the vision. So I always wear black or something neutral. I always wear these. And then on your feet, you want to wear slip-on shoes, especially if you're shopping for shoes that day or you plan on trying things on. You do not want to be in the middle of the aisles with your cart, trying things on, tying up your shoes. It's a mess. So Crocs, flip-flops, Uggs, these pants, a tank top, and then you can just bring your jacket or a sweater and then you can throw it in the cart if you want to. So that is what you are going to wear. Okay, there are some questions that you should ask yourself even before you go thrifting, and I have them written down. You can screenshot these if you'd like. Okay, great. You got it. So the first question that you have to ask yourself is, what do you already have? So before you even get to the thrift store, the best thing to do is just do a loop around your laundry or look at what you have and take note. Sometimes you'll have items that you need a specific piece with or for. So let's just say you have a skirt and you're like, I need a shirt that kind of goes with it. Write that down. If you see that you have 17 pairs of jeans, you probably maybe don't need another pair of jeans unless you need ones that don't have rips or something. Okay, so take inventory of what you have so you're not just buying everything. A couple months ago, because I always shop out of season because that's when they're like on sale and they're not picked through, I was doing my jean shorts and I was like buying some here and there and they were like almost perfect, but I was like, okay, I'll take the waist in, which I'm going to talk about after, or like, oh, these ones I can cut, blah, blah, blah. Well, didn't I go through my clothes the other day to start packing for my trip, and I have like 9 pairs of jean shorts now, and I'm like, oh my God, Erica. So make sure you are always checking what you have so you're not over consuming or not buying things that you already have that maybe are just in a different part of your closet. Okay, the next thing is, what do you need? So again, do you need a specific shirt? Do you need sweaters? Do you need bikinis? Do you need scarves? Do you need purses? Like, what do you actually need? When I go thrifting, I don't actually need anything. Okay, the reality is none of us really usually need anything, but I typically try to look and make a list of like the things that I actually want to find. So right now I'm in like my jeans era. Like I'm trying to find like really cool different types of jeans, or I'm in jean shorts, or really cool skirts for the summer, dresses. But I also don't need jean shorts now, so I can take that off the list. Okay. The next thing that you want to do is you want to look on Pinterest beforehand and save some ideas, or better yet, make a list of screenshots or a folder in your phone so you can stay on track, especially if you're on a budget or you just don't want to overconsume. Since doing that, I've been finding the shit that I need. I'm like, I want a conch. I find a conch shell. Oh, I want something. I find it. If you make a list, it keeps you focused as well. When you go into the stores, they're so overwhelming sometimes, and you're just like, especially if it's a good one, and you can start seeing shit everywhere. Like there's times where I go in, I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna be here for 5 hours. You can lose track. So just stay on track, make a list, make a Pinterest, see what you want to get, and go from there. And then the next thing too that I always like to do is I like to consider just before I go in, like what brands I like or where I like to typically shop or my favorite clothes. So I know that I love tank tops. So I'll always go to the tank top section and look for the ones with bras in it, because before I didn't need them because I had big boobies. And now since my reduction, I need ones with a little shelf in it. So I've been looking for those. Okay. So just taking note of what you typically reach for in your closet and spots where you typically shop for. So when you're looking at tags, you can be like, oh, I like that store. Their clothes usually fit for me. Let me give it a go. The last one is, or not the last one, but the next question is just asking yourself, like, what's the goal? Sometimes I go thrifting for some me time. Sometimes I go in for a specific outfit, or I'm looking for like something outside of my comfort zone. So just asking yourself, like, what's the goal of that trip? Because it helps you, again, stay focused. And then you need to set yourself up for great success, which we were talking about already. So that's that. Okay. So that is the questions you should ask beforehand. Now, where to go thrifting? Everyone has their own opinions. I personally am in Canada. I like to Lee's because they have change rooms. They're also color coordinated and by size. So if I know I want a burgundy, my dad, a burgundy tank top, I go to the larges, I go to the tank tops, and I go to the reds and the burgundies. So make sure you kind of like figure out what you're looking for. Value Village and some other shops, they don't have change rooms. So I only go to Value Village for trinkets or for things that I can just try on in the middle of the aisles. But again, do your research. Also, too, there are some incredible independent thrift and consignment shops that you can find in your town. I always search on TikTok because the girlies are on it there. They will tell you, if you're plus size, go here. If you like this type of style, go here. If you want something that's more vintage, go there. So always do your research. And another tip that I will give you is I will always type in Google Maps thrift or like Salvation Army or mission stores or like secondhand, and a list of them will come up. And if you want to do like a full day of it, you can plan your stops. I'm just saying, but that's like expert level, but check and see where it's around and the hours that it's open. And then the last one too, what did I say? Oh, when to go thrifting. So I was going to gatekeep this, but I'm not going to. When to go thrifting. You want to go thrifting, not on a weekend, even though most people can go on the weekend. people are busy thrifting on the weekend, so everything's going to be picked through and everyone's going to be in there and it's going to be hectic. So one of my favorite things to do is to go on a Tuesday. I won't go on a Monday, because if I go on a Monday, then everything from the weekend is already picked through and it doesn't give staff tons of time to get new items out or to organize everything. So a Tuesday evening is like the best thrifting time. But if you can only go on weekends, I would suggest going on a Saturday morning, being one of the first ones there and just doing it then. I wouldn't go on a Sunday night if you can avoid it. And then the last tip that I would say is bring your own bags. And this is not necessarily like anything other than, if we're thrifting, we're trying to be eco-conscious. We're also trying to like make sure that less things are going into the world. I bring my own bags, and it also helps me not overbuy if I know I have to shove everything into one bag. So bring your own bags, and then that way you can just, use it and you don't have to worry about that. So you have bags, you have your outfit, you have snacks, you have a granola bar, if you are diabetic as well. Okay, if you are diabetic, sugar tabs. I'm going to make a very strong assumption, but I have a belief that for whatever reason, whether it's the walking around, whether it's that a lot of the thrift stores end up donating a lot of their profits to diabetes, your blood sugar might go low, you're trying things on, you're busy, okay? It's one of those sneaky things with type 1 diabetes, like cleaning or navigating, moving around, cooking, that makes your blood sugar go low. So always make sure you have snacks and sugar while you're at it. Okay, next we're going to get into your action plan. Hopefully y'all are okay that I'm not editing these things. I still don't give a shit to do it. All right, next is our action plan. So how do you navigate the store? If you thought that I was going to leave you dry, I'm not. Screenshot. Oh, my dad's going in and out. Can you not? That's okay. It's his workshop too. Okay, this is the order that you're going to look for. And there's a science behind it, and I'm going to share it with you. Okay, when you go into the store, oh wait, first thing I have to tell you, hold on. You will want to bring your headphones as well. I should have said this earlier in your preparation. These, will block out the noise. There's always kids screaming. No offense to any moms, but like there's always kids screaming. There's people talking shit about themselves. There's people being like, that's ugly or this or that. Or sometimes the music is like really questionable. So you put your headphones on, you put your music on, you're in your own world. You can like be creative. You can think about the things that you want to think about. Okay. So that's over there. Now, when you go into the store, this is how you're going to navigate. And again, this is science. You don't want to go straight to the clothes unless it's the only thing that you need. You need to take time getting accustomed to the prices. This sounds so funny for anyone that's non-thrifter. They're like, what the fuck? But anyone who thrifts is like, yeah. Go to the trinkets first. The reason being is because you're going to see how they price at that store. Some stores have like people that price things and you're like, oh, they have no idea what they're doing. And you can hit jackpot. Sometimes you go to thrift stores and you're like, you see something from a dollar store and it still has the $1.50 sticker on it and they're charging $4.50. And you're like, okay, that's the type of day that we're going to have. Mentally prepare. So I always do trinkets first. It gives me time to kind of like settle into the store, see where everything is, take a look, see what type of like stuff is there. Sometimes you can catch different vibes at different stores. It's just part of the science. So first you're going to go to the trinkets, and oftentimes too, when you first go into a store, the trinkets are either to the left or to the right. So you're going to do trinkets. Then you're going to make your way over to the clothes. Now you're going to go back to your list and you're going to go through what you need first. So it will take time to shift through. You will get decision fatigue, especially if you have ADHD. It's exhausting. So don't start in blouses and start shifting through if you don't need a blouse or you don't wear blouses. So I typically go straight to the dresses, the skirts, and then the tank tops, and then I'll do like the odds and ends. I'll also go and do the intimates as well. But you want to do clothing first, okay? So next, you're doing clothing, no shoes, nothing, just the clothes, the aisles, whatever, okay? Then you're going to go to accessories, but not jewelry accessories like bags, scarves, etc. I'm going to teach you a lesson about scarves because this is something that I learned the hard way. Okay, these scarves are great. They're great for our heads. They're great for our bags. They're great accessories. They are great to wear as clothes, okay? Not all scarves are created equally. So something that you want to start doing is looking at materials, okay? So what happened in my first couple of years of figuring out my thrifting routine is that the material, I wasn't paying attention to. I was just paying attention to the look of it. And I was like, oh my God, it's a scarf and it's hot pink and I'm going to wear that as a shirt. But when it's on my shirt, because it's silky or it was a crappy material, it would roll. And then I couldn't wear it for what I actually bought it for. So the best thing that you can do is start looking at materials and actually practicing how you want to wear it. So if you want to wear it on your head, like asking yourself, like, is this going to hold if I tie this in a knot, is it going to hold? If it's on my head, is it going to slip? Me looking in my mirror, I'm like, does that look cool? Right? So making sure that you're checking that. Same with belts, same with purses. Okay, going through, making sure that the zippers work, making sure that the colors are right, making sure that the latches are on. One time I bought the best purse ever and I was so excited. And I got home and I didn't realize that the handle was almost off. I put something in it and sure enough, it snapped and I had to carry it around like this the whole night. So making sure that everything works. So I do belts, I do like sometimes like the intimate slip dresses at that time. I do any scarves. I do any of those like little bags. All of my little bags, actually I can show you right here, I get from the thrift store. This was brand new. It was $2. I was literally looking for something to put all my travel stuff in for when I go on my trip for my podcasting and my YouTubing. And I found this and it was $2 and it was brand new. So I always look for bags at that time, hats, mittens, scarves, whatever the season is. Okay. Then you're going to make your way over to the shoes. So now you have your clothes. Now you have your accessories. If you're an expert level and depending on the time, I would go and try on your stuff then and there, especially if you want to make sure that you are giving yourself lots of time. So my mistake sometimes is that I'll go in and I'll grab all the clothes and then I think I'll have time to do the change rooms. Some change rooms close earlier too before the store closes. So I will do my clothes. I'll go and try them all on. If there's change rooms, or I'll make sure that I know what I'm doing, then I'll go and do the stuff that's like an easier decision if I want to buy it or not, which is like the accessories. Then you're going to go over to shoes. Okay. They typically have shoes separated into like runners and boots and stuff like that. And then sandals sometimes at different parts. So if you go to your size and you don't see anything that you like, make sure you're just going up and down the aisles because sometimes they separate them. And hot tip, always check out the men's, especially if you're looking for sneakers. For whatever reason, the girls' sneakers get gobbled up, but I have found some sick sneakers in the men's section, and just Google what size you would be. And typically they're cheaper as well for sexism reasons. Okay. After that, you're going to go to one of the mirrors, whether it's the change room, whether it's a mirror on one of the ends. A lot of the thrift shops, if you go to one of the big ones, they have mirrors at the end. You're going to do something called the final countdown, the final decision. You're going to go through everything and you're going to ask yourself if you will use it, how many times you'll wear it, if it works. And that's when you're also looking for any stains or any nicks. If it's something that you can fix, I will always take it and I'll take it up to the front and say, hey, can you reduce this price? There's like a huge rip in it or there's a stain and I don't know if it will come out or not. And they'll sometimes give you like 15 to 20% off, which in my eyes, that's a good win. But you want to make sure that you're just making sure everything actually works and fits and will work for your style. And then from there, I go to the jewelry, which is typically at the front sometimes of those like circles or the circles, the stands that move around, or they're in the front. If it's more expensive, it will be locked up and you have to have someone come and help you. But for the most part, the cheap ones are just like in and around at the front there. Look in the bags, look around. You can find amazing things. All of my accessories, yeah, like all my accessories are from the thrift store. They're like $2, $3. If I lose them, whatever, I find some really incredible things. The other nice thing about thrifting is that you can play around with different trends without spending too much money. So if you don't know if a trend is for you or not, a good one would be, what's a good one? Oh, like anything like cowboy themed is really like hot and heavy right now, or like gingham is also really in. If you don't know that you want to like change your whole wardrobe to gingham and like invest in it, a couple pieces is fine. And then that way you can play around. And like I said, same with accessories. Like sometimes I'll buy something and I'm like, I'll wear this like once or twice, but it was $1 and it works for now. And then it's great. So the final one is the jewelry. Then you go and pay and you leave. Okay. So that is how you are going to action plan, navigate the whole store. Things that you want to look for is materials. So sometimes I think there's like two types of thrifting personally. I personally won't typically buy something from Shein or like fast fashion in that sense, but if it's at the thrift store, depending on the price, I'll buy it from there. But oftentimes I do try to look for things like cotton. I try to look for polyester. I try to look for rayon, just like a better quality. I also try to look for better brands or vintage brands because they're just created better. Try really hard. Personally, this is maybe just a personal, like try not to buy too much of like the fast fashion stuff while you're thrifting because they're going to already pay more than what like a typical person would pay for it. It's not going to last typically, and they're making money off of it. And I know that sounds maybe awful and like, it's not like the biggest tip in the world, but if you're going to be spending money, if you're going to be spending the time shifting through it, like look for the brands that you like, look for good materials, look for things that are going to last because it will make that go so much farther. Like my favorite thrifting items are from years and years and years ago because they're really good quality and I haven't had to throw them out. Whereas sometimes I'll buy things, again, whether it's trendy or it's just something that I want to explore for myself, and I wear it like once or twice, but it just doesn't feel good on my body, like physically feel like the materials. So check for materials and know what to look for. So if you are looking for certain brands, if you're looking for something that's trending, like I always look for like Diesel, Free People. What else do I look for? Oh, Garage jeans, Hollister jeans, Abercrombie jeans. Just know what you're looking for, because sometimes too, when you're feeling pieces, you can like tell when something's good quality. And not that you need to buy for brand, but there's times where I've like bought something and I was like, oh, like this feels really good. And it ended up being a really solid item because it felt amazing. Sometimes you'll feel something and you're like, oh, this is cheap. And you look at the tag and you're like, ah, damn it, it's Shein. Which again, if you love it and it fits and it's great, amazing. Like no one's shaming nothing. Like there's no rules to fashion, but just know what to look for and like start to recognize some brands or where they're from. So that's more like of a budget support. For example, if I see an old Walmart brand, they used to have like a brand that was called like 725 or something. If I see that on a dress and I see $17.99, I literally lose my mind. I'm like, I'm not paying for that. If I see that tag on a dress and it's $7.99, then I'm like, sure. One, it's vintage, but also two, it makes sense. So just know what you're paying for. There's nothing worse than paying overpriced for shit that didn't even cost that much in the first place, okay? And then the last part is going home and washing the items, playing with them, altering them, etc. I have a trick for those of you that are having a hard time buying pants. You can also do this to the pants that you buy typically, but I do something called the shoelace trick. I learned it on TikTok. Okay, so I brought these ones in for you. So there's different ways to do it depending on how the item is made. But if you find something that fits, but it's a little bit loose in the waist, I actually have them on this one too. You can thread. Let me see if I can put this through. Okay. You can thread a shoelace through. So there's always two layers in the belt part, right? There's the one that they pull over and then there's the actual one. So you cut a little hole and then you thread a shoelace through. Now this one was tied here and I couldn't get, oh wait, I could get it through. I don't know why I stopped. Oh, it was cramping my arm. Yeah. I was literally like ready to freaking, like my hand was like pulsing. So you can pull it through all the way to here. And then what you do is inside you tie it up and it just allows it to be a little bit tighter. This saves me so much money because truthfully, every single pair of pants that I own needs this trick. And if I were to take them in and get them tailored, I would do that for maybe like a more expensive pair of jeans, but like when they're $10 or $9, like it just, to me, it doesn't make sense. So I do this trick. Like I said, I'll actually show you here. Let me make sure I'm still in thing. I do it for this one as well. I just tie it through. I tuck it in and like they're still baggy, but like now they stay up. Okay, so that is a good trick. So you want to alter your clothes. You want to make sure that they work. One of my biggest mistakes that I make is that I wash my colors sometimes with my whites. And depending on the materials and where you're buying the clothes from, I bought this gorgeous yellow skirt for festival season. And I was so excited. And it was from India and it's like fucking phenomenal. I stupidly put it in with my whites and my colors. And I came out and guess what all my whites were? Yeah, it's flooded in yellow. And now it looks like someone peed on them. And I'm really sad. So I'm going to have to now dye all of my whites a darker color. So make sure that when you're washing it, you're just paying attention to like the labels or just making sure that you wash them separately first and foremost, especially if you don't know where it's coming from or if you don't know how it's going to leak. Just be safer than sorry. And then also to just alter your clothes, craft with them and play with them. Don't just throw them in your closet. Have fun, put them together, play around with it. Never, ever, ever be afraid of a pair of scissors. And I know that's scary because you're like, oh, I only have one chance to do this. Look up a tutorial. I'm always on TikTok being like how to cut the perfect shirt or like how to fix the perfect pair of pants, but play around with your clothes and have fun and put it into your closet and wear it. So that is my how to thrift, how to find your style episode. Hopefully y'all got some tips and tricks for that. And the thing that I would also say too is don't go into a thrift store expecting to find a whole new wardrobe at once. Thrifting is all about piecing treasures together. It's about finding the thing that you've been looking for 3 months and couldn't find. It's finding something that you used to wear, but maybe doesn't fit you anymore in the size that would fit you now. Like thrifting is part buying clothes, but it's also the journey and it's also the patience and practicing, asking yourself what you need and what you don't need, and exploring different journey or styles and whatnot. And that's like the whole point of it. That's like the fun part why a lot of people who have been thrifting for a long time thrift. So hopefully you guys got something from this and you can take from it. If you have any questions about thrifting or if you need any tips and tricks, please always comment below or let me know in my Instagram comments or DMs. I'm always there to support. But that's everything for today. I will see you all next week for the next episode. Oh, and yeah, we have new backgrounds. And actually, I think next episode I will be in England. So I'll see you all then. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Send this to any friends. Save it for another time. Take notes. And yeah, I'll see you all next episode.